Hi, Brookie! So today we're going to read Walter the Farting Dog Goes on a Cruise. Before, we were introduced to Walter when they adopted him, and now they're going on vacation with him. Isn't that cute? He has a suitcase packed with bones. Look at that size of that ship, said Billy. It's as high as a 23-story building, said Father. It has everything in it, said Mother. Even a shopping mall. And 5 swimming pools, said Betty. Walter farted excitedly. So there they are, getting on their cruise ship. Welcome aboard, said the cruise director. What a nice dog, said the pet officer Smedley. The ship pulled away from the dock. The horn sounded, brr, brr, and Walter farted. So that's their big cruise ship, and if you look closer, you can see all the people. All of our animal friends stay down here in the pet palace, said Pet Officer Smedley. We do our best to make them completely comfortable. Walter sniffed around the fancy room. I'm off to my first round of golf, said Father. I'm off to my massage, said Mother. We're off to swim in all 5 pools, said Billy. Don't worry, Walter, added Betty. We'll be back in a little while. Walter settled down on a plush cushion. Not bad, he said to himself, and farted. See, look, he looks happy. As soon as the door of the pet palace closed, trouble started brewing. Brewing is a funny word because brewing is what happens when you make coffee or a chemical reaction happens. And in this way, brewing is kind of hinting or foreshadowing that there's going to be some kind of fart problems. Dogs began growling, cats began hissing, birds began squawking. Why? Walter was farting. See? Get that stinker out of here, said a parrot in the corner. Pet Officer Smedley returned with some pet treats and was instantly enveloped in a fart cloud. This smells like an emergency to me, he said, and he opened up all the vents. So here's the judgy parrot. And here's the Pet Officer Smedley opening up the vents. There's poor Walter just feeling awkward and ashamed. Little kitties like Frankie, they're crying. Yeah. On the golf course, Father was lining up a putt, and then he noticed a familiar smell. What's that horrible odor? Said the other golfers. Must be the sea air, said Father. But Father knew it wasn't the sea air. He saw Pet Officer Smedley coming toward him. I've got a problem with that dog of yours, Smedley said. There's Father lining up for the putt. Smedley, stinky Smedley. And if you look at this closer, out of the holes that they're putting in is fart air coming up, which is pretty funny. Father, Mother, Betty, and Billy were led back to the pet palace. Fart alert, squawked the parrot. We're going to have to put Walter in quarantine, said Smedley. Oh no, thought Walter. Lower the lifeboats, squawked the parrot. Women and parrots first. They decided to put Walter in a room where they stored the stinky cheeses. Don't worry, Walter, said Billy. We won't be far away. We'll visit you a whole lot, said Betty as she closed the door. Fair enough, thought Walter, quietly farting. Among the stinky cheeses, there was a big one that called to Walter. I shouldn't eat that, thought Walter. It doesn't belong to me. Yet here we are, together. No one would notice. Perhaps if I just licked it lightly. He licked it lightly and then ate the entire cheese. Oh. There's the big cheese. And there's the big farts. Even though Walter was tucked away deep in the belly of the ship, his farts crept out under the door, slithered along the hallway, and made their way upstairs. By the next day, all 6 dining rooms were filled with farts and angry passengers. "This ship stinks. We want our money back." "Please be patient, ladies and gentlemen," said the cruise director. "We're having a little problem with the ventilation system, but we'll have it under control in a few minutes." The captain said, "Put that dog overboard." Walter was lowered into a lifeboat and tied to the back of the ship. "This will be fun, Walter," said Billy. "Officer Smedley promised he would bring you treats every day," said Betty. "Fair enough," thought Walter, and farted. That night, the huge block of cheese inside of him began doing its work, plugging up all the farts. There's him on the back of the boat with an octopus and a pelican. If you ever ask your mom about pelicans, she will tell you they are scary. The passengers were enjoying themselves again, while Walter trailed behind in his lonely lifeboat. "The gas is building badly," he said, "but at least I'm still attached to the ship." See, there's everybody else having a good time, and then there's Walter in the background, all by himself. Well, he has the octopus, but the octopus does not look like he has a good conversation. Suddenly, the computer systems that controlled everything on the ship crashed, and the backup systems crashed right behind it. The power died. The engines quit. The ship drifted helplessly. Everybody grew hot and cranky. I think this picture is very funny. Look at that guy. He's wearing just pretty much underpants. They all look hot and cranky. In his lifeboat, Walter was having his own problems. The gas pains were unbearable. "Try not to think about it," he told himself. Twisting to look at his tail, he realized, if that cheese lets go, I'll be blown halfway to the Arctic Circle. He felt the gas bubbles building and building and building. He dug in with his paws and braced himself. "If anything breaks my perfect concentration, I'm done." Then a fly landed on his nose. He looked at the fly, and the fly looked at him. There's the fly. There was a deep rumble as the cheese shifted inside of him. A few small farts came out and gently pushed the lifeboat up against the ship. So, the boat is here. He just came up behind it, and now he's pushed up against it. "That wasn't so bad," said Walter. But then all the farts that had been blocking for days came out with a roar like a rocket. The ship heaved forward. Walter hung on, still farting. "Warp speed!" squawked the parrot. At the Pet Palace, "We must be back to full power," said Father, gripping the deck rail. But it was so much more than full power. It was fart power. It shot the ship over the horizon and into the port. "Right on time," said the captain. So, here is Walter pushed against the boat, and here's his amazing fart. He blew away his little octopus friend, too. When the cruise was over, Pet Officer Smedley presented Walter with a sailor hat. "It was an honor having you on the cruise, Walter. We had a great time, but it's good to be back on land," said Mother. "Anyone for pizza?" said Father. "Hold the cheese," squawked the parrot. Everybody's leaving. The end. Oh, and look, they changed the name of the boat to Walter's Wind instead of Water's Wind. Okay, the end.